blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hola, hola, hola. Hey, you guys. Happy Tuesday to you. It's been a minute since the city. It's been a week. A lot of exciting things and a lot of interesting things too. But let's start at the beginning. I am Melikia K. Courtney. I am your host for the next hour-ish. And you are joining me to have a quick conversation, not a long conversation, but a good conversation about happy in contrast to trauma. Oh, and I forgot to send that link out. Certain people asked me for it, Lord, but oh well. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Replay. So, out the gate, I started out with a question based off of that comment, misery loves company. And it got me to thinking, well, if misery loves company, does happiness love company too? And then if happiness also loves company, why are we not talking about that more? You know, that's something that I think we have kind of faded away from a little bit. I don't know if it needs to trend for happiness to come back in full force, but let's see what it does. So I figured we would take the conversation from the approach of mental health, which is something that I absolutely love and believe in and support. And you guys are kind of just going to be on this ride alongside me. So let's talk about the mental well-being. So trauma can have big effects, the kind of effects that after the event keep you company. And it's not the kind of company that just is polite, that comes over and visits and washes dishes after itself, none of the above. It's the kind of company that comes over and creates skeletons and secrets for you to stick in your closet, right? The kind that you don't want to lay out in front of anybody, right? And it can last until it's addressed. And that sometimes looks like months. And it also sometimes looks like decades. Okay, decades. And sometimes it looks like death has occurred and folks still ain't deal with their dirt. So I'm hoping that by pausing to have this conversation with me and tuning in and listening to it, and also be generous, please do share this link with someone you know who might need it. And I totally forgot to send it to Artie, because Artie did ask me, but I will send him replay, like I said. So even if afterwards you come across this and you see it and you're like, I think I know someone who could use this message, do share it. So let's pause for a quick break and say thank yous. I'd like to thank Blast Music 247 for even offering me the opportunity to bring these kind of conversations to you, because they're important conversations. And I find that as adults, we're so busy, we don't get to those conversations, but we're getting to them together in this podcast. You are in MetaMorphosis 365, brought to you by Sexual Experience, and of course, Blast Music 247. And thank you to the BP, Troy, in the house, who's handling all the grown-up engineering stuff that your girl don't even know how to do. How about that? So thank you very much for those. I appreciate you, Troy, and also Sunshine, for even recommending that this be my podcast home. I like it here, so I'm staying. Okay, back to conversation. So in the sense of choosing happiness is a choice, y'all. It's a flat out choice. And sometimes you'll find that those traumas that I mentioned earlier, and sometimes it ain't even trauma, sometimes it's just those irritations that build up. Sometimes you're pissy because you know you got to get up and deal with the work weeks and the work co-workers and all the stress that comes along with those creatures, or you just tired, right? Family, children, pets, life, bills and demands. Sometimes it comes in those forms. It doesn't have to always be trauma for it to test you and to challenge you and bring you to a decision, right? And a lot of times those decisions look like, okay, I can choose to be in angry mode or disappointment mode. Disappointment is a big one, right? I could choose to focus on the things that draw my attention to lower energy things, right? To things that bring your energy down and lock you into a knot, so to speak. And those are options, right? But in the same way, and I promise you, in the same way, with the same energy, you could choose to be happy. You could choose to be happy. Let's elevate the conversation a little bit. Mental well-being. PTSD. I think everybody over the age of 18, okay, has been exposed to some sort of conversation, whether it was news or themselves enduring it or witnessing someone they know endure some type of trauma. And PTSD, it can become one of the most well-known mental health consequences of trauma. And that is true. That is the effect. And it can develop after experiencing or witnessing that traumatic event. And we talked about that just a second. So let's talk about some symptoms. The symptoms include intrusive thoughts or memories, flashbacks, nightmares, and that hypervigilance and avoidance of trauma-related stimuli. The things that remind you of the trauma that you experienced. And I think it was like, I'm going to talk to you about the problem end of it, the PTSD being the problem end of it, but I'm also going to offer you just some simple life hacks that can help you move through it. And what do I tell you out the gate? Get professional help. That's what I tell you out the gate. There's no shame in it, ain't nothing wrong with it. So let's talk. When those flashbacks come, sometimes it's a moment, it's a flashback. You'll be doing what you're doing, you're minding your business, you're minding your daily business, and you're moving through your world, right? And then suddenly, something happens. There's some stimuli that pops off and reminds you, and boom, you have a flash. A lot of people, when that flash comes, want to flee and run for your ever life. I understand that you may want to flee and run for your ever life, but I encourage you, do not run. Do not shut that flashback down. Let it have time. Let it have time with you. Okay, what did I see? Where was I? What actually occurred? Because when you refuse to endure the flashback and take time with the flashback and really see what you are seeing, what's being brought to you, well, you're denying an opportunity to choose happiness, to work through that, to get to happiness, right? Because it is a through. And do understand, the flashbacks come as an invitation. They are not there to chase you or beat you or remind you to be stressed out. They're a reminder that part of you already is stressed out and part of you is fleeing, right? And has fled for however long the time between the event and that moment the flashbacks come. So we're talking flashbacks, the nightmares, those different stimuli. When those things come up, believe and trust. It is for you, not against you. It's for you to choose. Okay? You're being offered a choice. And in that moment, it's like, okay, here I am. See me. You're out of the event. You're down the road. So nothing is happening to you right now. You are in a safe place to look at what occurred. That is your reminder. That is your reminder. And love, that is a tip. And here is your tool. Sitting to look and examine what occurred and be clearly honest without adding a lick to it. What happened, right? And owning what happened and speaking to yourself honestly, letting the air out of the monsters, putting light on any skeletons or the things that go bump and make you afraid, right? That is your moment to address it and make a choice. You can either choose to run, like so many of us have, and believe and trust me, I did some running for a while, until I dealt with some things, and I'm gonna tell you my business in a minute. But when I sat to look at what really occurred, and removed all of the fear from around it and realized that there was nothing happening right now. I was not physically in pain. I was not presently in danger. I was in a safe space to look at what happened. Not only was I in a safe place to see it, I was in a safe place to write it down. I was in a safe place to get help and talk about it, right? Because we're down the road. That is how we choose happiness, because that's the conversation that we're having. Happy versus trauma. You get to decide what your days look like. Everybody has the same 1440, and I've mentioned that before, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. You have the same 1,440 minutes that everybody has. What are you doing with your 1440? And when you look at the lives of the people that you admire, did you think that they had no issues, that they've never touched trauma? Because so many of the people that we admire actually have, and they've worked through it, and then I moved on to handling their business to the point where they're doing something admirable that has your attention, right? So why not be an example for somebody else? And this is my admonishment to you. Sit with that flashback. Sit with that nightmare. And the nightmares, Jesus, I understand those ones can be a monster, a true, like, present truly as a monster. But again, I caution you, slow down. Do not flee. It is not a monster. It is an invitation, albeit a frightening one or an uncomfortable invitation nonetheless, okay? So slow down for me and look at that. And yep, I have notes so we stay on track. Anxiety and depression, definitely. Trauma can significantly increase the risk of developing anxiety disorders and depression. And I think we've understood that personally for those of us who've been through trauma, and this is a conversation for you. Individuals may experience persistent feelings of fear, sadness, guilt, or hopelessness in impacting their daily function and quality of life. And that is the importance of it. That is why it is important to address your choices, right? Address your choices. You can choose to be happy. And sometimes it is at a cost. Sometimes it is at the cost of working through past trauma and distress. Just it. Cognitive impairments. It can affect the way you process. It can affect your attention, your ability to concentrate, your memory. It gets to taking over part of your functioning life when you refuse invitation after invitation to come and deal with your dirt. And all you got to do, if you're wondering, is that me? Okay, let's do some self-inventory. What's occurring in my life? Am I making goals? Am I meeting my goals? Am I checking in with myself? What are the people around me experiencing from me? Am I showing up in my family with those duties and responsibilities? Am I showing up at work and doing what I'm being paid to do? Or is half that time distracted and I can't focus or complete a task, and I got people calling me and emailing me for stuff that I should have been gotten in? Okay, so sometimes it may not look related, but believe and trust me, it is. Okay, well, I've been working so hard and I've been focused and I've been getting these things in, and it feels like I can't get past this point. I feel like I'm anchored in or I'm stuck. There's a ceiling. I hear so many folks with that. Glass ceiling. Oh, I'm so stuck. Well, it might be that you have an anchor of unhappiness, of a lower energy that's hooked in and holding you in place until you deal with that. Let's keep it moving. The dysregulation. Oh, Jesus. This is a big one. The emotional dysregulation, y'all. Blowing up at people when it wasn't even them. Taking it out on the people around you that you love, that love you. For no reason, for no apparent reason, you are on edge and your mind is constantly moving, like you feel the press in your mind. It is because we have not taken that conscious moment, that decision-making time. I choose happy. And why would I choose happy? Because I can have it too. It is not just for some or few. It is for you too if you choose it. Okay, and I kid you not, there is such a power and choice. I'm going to get back to that in just a second. Let's talk about your emotional well-being. Trust and safety issues. Trauma, it does erode your feelings of trust and safety, especially when you've been in romantic relationships and then you would like to move on. I have some beautiful, beautiful women and men that I've discussed things with and counseled and coached who out their mouths. I mean, some of these folks, young, nowhere near a death date, and just refuse to open up their heart and allow. And here's the kicker: someone to possibly hurt them again. That someone don't even exist, but they didn't already judge, jury, and signed them off as someone who cannot love them because they've resigned themselves to being unlovable. And not so much that they're blaming themselves and saying they're so broken, but they have zero trust for someone else's ability to love them based on an event that already occurred that had nothing to do with anyone else. Right? It don't make much sense, really. When you look at it, it doesn't make much sense. It does make sense from I'm going to protect myself in, maybe. I'm going to never beware of your nevers. Beware of your unwillingness to engage and grow. Because those decisions, again, I kid you not, it all boils down to choice. Let's go to choice. We'll use choice and decision. Okay. There are so many things that come up during the day, right? We have so many things that occur where we could take time to weigh them out, right? We're making decisions rapid fire a lot of times, right? Come. Well, what do I want? What do I want to eat? Where do I want to go? Who do I want to spend this time with? I only have a certain amount of time. Who's it best spent with? Okay. Well, my body feels this way when I eat that. And I don't really like the way that feels, but I want that food. Or let's talk about money. Well, I'm sad, so I just want to spend some money. I want some retail therapy. All of these things build on your happiness, baby. All of these things affect your happiness. You are either building reward or consequence into your life. I'm hoping that makes sense. I think that's the simplest way to say it. You are either building reward or consequences into your life. And I think that should sit well with you. That's a polite way to say it, okay? The reward of peace, okay? The reward of joy and contentment. And I'm speaking happiness, the reward of speaking things out in front of you that you really want to experience. The reward of planning, the reward of loving someone. Again, these are all choices. And when you are wrapped up in PTSD, when you wrapped up in trauma, when you wrapped up in fear and in refusal, you have no willingness about you, then yeah, that's when it falls back to that misery loving company. But let's add the other end on it. Happiness loves company too. Let's tell some business. So part of a poetry world. I love poetry. I am ink and it is my life, right? A great part of my life. And what I will say is a lot of times, a lot of the pieces that kind of come forth are trauma pieces. Like people are processing through the medium of poetry, which I do recommend. And there comes a point where when you look at the body of your work, how much of your work is based off of negative experiences? Let's add a contrasting view for you. Childhood. How much of what you remember from your childhood has negative connotations? Do you have as many pound for pound, dollar for dollar, buck to buck positive memories of childhood as you do negative ones? Or even look at the span of your life, okay? Are you getting that contrast? Paint that picture for yourself, and I'll give you a couple of seconds to work that thought out, because that is a way to help you measure your happiness. That's a meter. That's an inside meter if you ever had one tool. Okay? We gotta check ourselves. We gotta be our own medicine our own counsel, wise counsel. There's wisdom in sitting down with yourself and understanding how to be happy, because we've been taught everything else. TV teaches so much, education systems teach so much in the way of the negative, right? After kindergarten, it's work time. We're not focused on if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. We don't move down the road. Do something, okay? But you have a preset. Check in with yourself. Let's keep it moving. Your spiritual and existential questions. Trauma may provoke existential or spiritual crisis, which is true. Individuals grapple with questions and the meaning and the purpose and the nature and the suffering. Fine. Survivors may find solace and growth through spiritual practices and exploration. I'm going to say it simple. Y'all, meditation. If I had a drum, I would beat it. Meditation, meditation, meditation. If you have not explored meditation, why? Like, for why? I don't know. There we go. I saw something strange. Either way, if you've not explored meditation, I encourage you to do so. That is one of the strongest ways to deal with the nightmares, the traumas, the flashbacks, when those things come, to really take that into meditation with you, because what you're doing is you're choosing quiet. Okay, boom, I'm gonna face this. It's not gonna chase me because I'm done running. So it's not gonna chase me any longer. Those traumas or those fears or that stress that I don't want to deal with, or those Mondays or that work that I hate, or the people that stress me the hell out and drain me to death, I'm not running from it anymore. I'm going to sit still with it. And then when I sit still with it, I'm going to examine it. I'm going to look at it for what it actually is. Is it what I believe it is? Is this what happened? Because sometimes we add meaning, we add measure, we add words, we add location, we add people, and it ain't even the case. That's not even what happened. But just over time, we've let our mind run wild and acquired all these things to make it firm and keep it frightening for ourselves, to keep us safe. Well, be unsafe in this way with me for a little while. Come into meditation. Bring it with you. Be still. Close your eyes. Listen. Think those things through. And when you find that, okay, boom, this is valid. This is something that I can't let go on my own. This is something that I cannot own for myself. And that's what I mean by let go. I hear people say, let it go, let it go, let it go. Hold up. Let's explain let it go. Let it go means that you're letting go of blaming anyone outside of yourself, right? You're letting go of your right. I got a right to blame you. This person harmed me, which in a lot of cases is freaking true. So I'm not doubting it. I'm not saying it didn't happen to you, but I am saying here's the difference. When you own it, think about property. When you own it, you get to decide what happens next. When you refuse to own it, you are at the behest and the wind of whoever you're blaming. And some people holding their breath for apology that ain't gonna ever come. And I'm gonna tell you out the gate, sometimes them apologies ain't gonna ever come. So you holding your breath for nothing and for no avail, for no progress. Where's your progress? Your progress is in sitting with yourself, darling. Bringing it to meditation. Or for those who do not meditate or have no clue how, I'm going to throw out a book, Master Key System, Charles Haanel. Start there. That's a great place to start. Awesome practitioners, Ali Paws on Instagram. Awesome. Okay. Do your work. Like, I'm offering you tips and tools and information to kind of guide the journey. Yes. Because I want you happy. I want you whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That's what I want. You healthy, wealthy, wise, and moving forward in your life. That is my desire. That's the whole point of being here and having these conversations with y'all, is for perspective and growth. And I'm talking and expecting fully that you use your tools. Use your tools, use your tools, use your tools. Okay, great. Moving to meditation. And when I go into meditation, I have my book and my pen for when I come out, so that anything that I see or the thoughts that are coming or something that I feel, maybe I do that for dreams too. When I wake up, I can write it down. Okay, let me get it down on paper so that I can understand what's happening here and begin to make some choices and some decisions after that. Like, am I going to keep this? Is this thing going to chase me like forever? So let's talk some stuff. Okay, great. So I was going to tell you my business. Here you go. When I was a kid, I was one of those different kind of children who would dream things sometimes before they happened. And had a cousin that I loved. Again, I was a child. This was an older cousin who was an adult already. Yeah, he was an adult, fully adult. And the night before he was killed, I dreamed it. And when I woke up, it was sheer fear, y'all. It was traumatic because in my dream, and that was not the only time I've had that happen, nothing occurred to me physically, but I saw that happen. And then it happened the next day. Can you imagine that level of fear that rested with me? I felt some kind of way. I was a kid. I did not know if I caused it by dreaming it. Like, you're a kid. You don't know these freaking things. You're freaking out. All you know is your cousin that you absolutely freaking adored and loved died in the manner in which you dreamed. That was traumatic. That was traumatic. And then as I grew, I just pushed it over to the side. And then other events like that would occur. And I had no guide. I had no guide to work through that level of trauma. It continued, and I'll give you the contrast of prior or before and after, so to speak. 9/11, same thing. I dreamed before. I didn't see anything about the planes, but I saw the aftermath and the people dying in the sky, raining ash, and I couldn't understand it. And my preview was from a bum who was leaning on a metal trash can on the corner, looking into the corner store, and this man coming out and saying it wasn't me, a man with a head wrap turban on. So, what tools I did not have as a child to work through that trauma of literally seeing murder occur. Okay. And then what I had in place by the time 9/11 came along, I had to sit and build. I got a guide and I worked to understand some folks deal with this. It does not mean I'm responsible for it occurring, nor does it mean that I have to sit and bury or hold the weight of what I saw or experienced. Let me even make it even more real for you, because some folks have a tangible physical trauma. I have been in a position where I've experienced rape, where I've experienced molestation, or experienced physical abuse in an abusive marriage. I've experienced those things. So what are those? Trauma, right? However, my smiling went nowhere, okay? My smiling went nowhere, and it was a choice. It was a choice, and it was work. So I invite you to do some work. Meditation, prayer, and a guide. Simple, simple, simple. A lot of work, but simple, simple, simple. You can take action, and you could be happy. You could be happy, like genuinely happy. Oh, I see. Hey, Puckram, how are you? It's so small. I had to do the squint on that one. I'm glad you're here and enjoying the conversation, hopefully. And I can't see nobody's comments unless they're up on the screen. So, hey, y'all, I appreciate you tuning in and listening. Please do share with the humans, post it on your social medias. And if you know someone who really could use the conversation about happy versus trauma, yeah, invite them over and share broadcast. So let's get back to it. Your physical well-being. Oh, and this one is huge. A lot of people don't talk about this. I'm going to speak to it I'll speak to it from my notes first, and then I'll get to this part. So it contributes to your development or your exacerbation to your physical health. Okay, let's speak some English. It contributes to your highest health or your sickness and your chronic pains and those diseases that pop up when you are holding anger in your body. Because if we reduce a lot of the trauma, you can break it down to blame, you can break it down to anger, you can break it down to sadness, like get its simplest form, right? And that may be offensive, but don't take offense, just hear me out and hear what I'm saying. You want to reduce it to its simplest form. the wind out of the sails of trauma or fear. Okay, when you see it fully for what it is. Some folks were harmed, and God have mercy on who harmed you. Okay, not minimizing that, but yes, you can minimize what occurred down to the emotions. Okay, what emotions are present, because we can deal with small bites, right? Little by little, little by little. That's how the elephant is eaten. So take it down to simplest forms. And in those cases where you refuse to, again, for my runners, I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to deal with that. When you find out that your blood pressure is creeping up on you and you can't understand why, like the doctors are checking and they have no reason to offer you for why you feeling what you feeling. Okay, when you find that you're getting migraines back to back, putting on weight, can't get it off, yeah, and oftentimes folks would prefer to give you a pill, would love that. Hey, let me prescribe this for you. You can't sleep, been there, couldn't sleep for years on years, had to come to some conclusions, you guys. So it is that you must deal with what's going on emotionally. Do you get that? Like, do you understand that this is happening in your emotions and it is affecting you physically? Even if the event is, I don't know where, how long ago, or how soon ago, you're still being affected every time it comes to mind. Every flashback, every nightmare, every memory that's coming and asking you, please deal with me so I can go away, and not just go away from your present mental thoughts, from out of that scary closet, but away from your body so your body can have peace. Don't you want some peace? Right? Because your peace attributes to the happy. Right? And I'm offering you all these thoughts and perspectives because I would love for you to choose happy. That would be a wonderful place to be. And I'm sure the people around you would appreciate you choosing happy too. Sleep disruptions. I already mentioned that. Some of y'all can't sleep because you're too busy worried about this person, worried about that one. And I'm not saying don't care about your people. Not what I'm saying at all. But for my spiritual folks, you get to choose pray or worry. And let's get our categories clear. Happy or just miserable? How happy are you when you're worrying about somebody? 0? You have an option. You can choose to pray or worry. You can't do both. I can tell you that out the gate. And that might be offensive, but it's freaking true. You can't do both. So you pick one. Pray or worry. Which one you want to do? And which one leaves you in a better state? Because happiness is a state of being. So I'm messing with your states of being on the low. Okay, great. Headaches, muscle tension. Ooh, your gut. And I think I talked on that a little bit. And random physical complaints and distresses, emotional distresses, mental distresses. A lot of times it is truly tied back into trauma, especially those 0 to 7-year-old traumas. Them things have claws and they've been there for a time. And if you're listening to this and listening intently, that means you're probably of some age. Okay, darling, it is truly time to reach back and, handle that. Quit running. So those are initial thoughts. I think we're going to pause and take care of the commercially thingies. I'm gonna let the grown-up pop up here and have his say, and I'll come back and we'll wrap on some part 2.
Grown up, that's a good word for me. I'll take it. Thank you, everybody. Welcome this evening. Our Blast Artist Spotlight is one of our faves. This is my girl Demi Day, and this is called Be Like You. Check it out.
Everybody can't reach like, everybody can't dream like, everybody can't be like, everybody can't be like you, everybody can't reach like, and everybody can't dream like, everybody can't be like, Everybody can't be like you. I understand you got your own thing going. Merely on down the stream, you better keep on rowing. They try to knock your self-esteem, you better keep on glowing. Don't let nobody in between that future you be knowing. So here's my message to you. Ain't no person on earth that can outdo you. Be yourself until yourself. You'll be honored that you knew you. Only you can be your rock when it ain't no one else around. And if you don't love yourself, then the only way is down. But I believe in you. I see you got some dreams in you. Full speed ahead, I see you got some steam in you. Just keep chugging away. Be grateful for every day that you get to bless the world with such a beautiful face. Let your shadow make the chase. Let your heart dictate the pace. Let your mind give you the strength and let your spirit run the race. I bet your ancestors cheering, seeing the path you clearing. Nothing worth fearing, every lesson worth hearing. But every now and again they try to break you. Lean into them wounds even though they might be painful. And when they heal the scars, that's when you gon' see a breakthrough. I'm praying that you make do with every resource within your grasp. Multiply it forth and be generous with your math. Kindness in your hand, willing to understand that every single second you get is another dance. And every single moment you breathe is another chance to do something you love, to always rise above. Parting for the past, don't let that trauma beat you up. Be gentle with your mental and everything you done been through. End of the day, you're the reason I grabbed a pencil, so I could draw you up a motivational stencil. Tracing the inspiration, make way for the destination. Trust me, I can see all of the places that you're headed. And I'm here to let you know you ain't gonna never reach a dead end. Everybody can't reach like, everybody can't dream like, everybody can't be like, everybody can't be like you. Everybody can't reach like, and everybody can't dream like, everybody can't be like, everybody can't be like you.
And that was Jimmy Day with Be Like You. And if you are an independent artist or a spoken word poet or up and coming comedian that is looking for some exposure, you can go to blastmusic247.com and register for free. But Blast is also looking for the fans of music. So if you would like to have access to all the wonderful music of Blast, you can go to blastmusic247.com, register as the unlimited fan, and have access to hundreds and hundreds of independent music. So Blast, we're changing the industry one artist at a time. Alrighty, back to you.
Thank you. And I definitely appreciated that song. Everybody can't be like you. What? You guys have great talent. So I do appreciate your song choices, sir. You be on one. Proper. All right, y'all. So I'm going to admonish you to think through what's already been said. For my note takers, you winning because you can go back and just read through, right? The ideas that I've shared with you and put some of those tools to work. Get your Rihanna on when it comes to that. What I did do was create somewhat of a side workbook for happiness. So we're going to touch a little bit on that. If you find that you'd like to have the whole workbook, reach out to me at lifeissanctuaryxp and I'll give you the simple at gmail.com. Do it like that. Is that when you know and you trust? Lifeissanctuaryxp at gmail.com and I'll share the entirety with you. But let's touch on just a couple of things. And I think I've given you quite a bit to think about. It is my heart to give you enough without overwhelming your thought processes, because sometimes when we start talking about the contrast, when you really sit and ask yourself, am I happy? That is a profound question, because it immediately causes us to think about our own personal definitions of happiness. Have you stopped to define what happiness means to you? Because if you haven't, how do you know? How can you measure your level of happiness if you haven't even had a moment, if you haven't taken a moment to really define what it means to you? Because what makes me happy might not be what makes you happy. I can share with you a list till Sunday comes of the things that make me happy. I'm a super fan of bubbles. blow me some bubbles. I'm a super fan of my grandbabies. Oh my God. Those are my babies, right? The things that make me happy may not be what causes your happiness. Give me some poetry and the world is right. Pass me my pens and my papers and my paint. Oh my God. Let me create, get some social impact projects. Let me get some justice around here. You're going to find me in my happiness. And how I know that is because I took time to define. Let me get some time with my honey. What? Stop playing. So define for yourself what makes you happy, darling. That's a must. It is a must. And at the same time, it also calls the question, what makes me unhappy? What is worrying against my peace? What is even stealing a little bit of my joy? Because like I said, everybody is not traumatized. Everybody not dealing with PTSD, but many people are. Some of us just have those little creepy, annoying things that just like raindrops of water in the middle of your forehead, annoying you out of your peace. Okay, so you've got to do the work. What I'm gonna tell you to do, get your pen and paper. I'm just saying till we blue. Get your pen and paper. Write something down. And I'm not talking about that computer or that phone that's cheat codes. That is the lazy way. It may be more convenient, but there's something that occurs when you put your body to work. Like you are in agreement with your body. We're gonna work on this. How do I know? Because I'm engaging my mind. Brain power. Ooh, the smoke is coming. I'm engaging my hands. I'm engaging my heart. We're working together. We're working in effort, in communed effort to an outcome. And what is the outcome? It's whatever you choose. You want to be miserable? Go right ahead. It ain't hard. Want to be happy? Go right ahead. It's not hard. It literally boils down to your choosing. And then I also caution you when it comes to choosing, it does have the hint, the scent of decision making. And for those who've taken time to understand what it means to make a decision, kudos. And for those of us who are about to hear this. When you decide, like when you really make a decision, what you are truly doing is you're severing all those other choices. You have decided. I have decided to be happy. I decided that I would live a happy life. Do I have things that occur? Uh-huh. Do I have things that come to stress me out? Uh-huh. People that come to drain, the whole lot of that. Yeah. And I'm quick to check that mess. I'm quick to deal with it. I'm quick to sit and decide. I will be involved this far and no further. If it's something that steals my peace, we cannot. No, we cannot. Clients that come that's off their plan and don't want to do the work, bye. I am not working with you because you're not about to stress me out for no reason. Now, if I got to deal with some stress, it's going to be some wonderful outcomes behind it. Trust me, because I'm going to make sure of it. You're going to get harassed lovingly. Pumpkin, correct. Define happiness for yourself. Reflect on what happiness means to you and explore. And write your definitions. I'm a big proponent of making your own dictionary. I got a Melikia dictionary, I sure do. Because it needs to make sense to me. Okay? Mind you, based in reality. I'm not just out there tweaking. No. Stay based in reality. Okay? Stay anchored and grounded. But at the same time, get clear. Do what you need to have clarity so that you can grow. Why not? Your perception. Recognize that happiness is influenced by how you perceive and interpret the things that happen in your life. The things that happen for you, to you, around you. Okay? All of it weighs in on your perception and how you ingest, digest, and regurgitate on the people around you. Okay? So bear that in mind. Your internal versus your external factors. Let's talk about that a little bit. Understand the distinction between your internals, your mindset, and your attitude. Let's be clear what that is, your internals and your externals, the circumstances and your possessions, things that contribute to your happiness. What do you have around you? What does your environment look like? Secret. If you maintain a cluttered environment, there is a safety issue. And I'm not talking about the hazard of flyer. No. You have a safety issue. There's something in you that you're not acknowledging or recognizing if you are existing with clutter. If you have a whole lot of stuff that you don't need, that you don't use. If you haven't used it in 2 years, it should not be in your house. It should not be around you. Right? Some sentimental value things, I get it. Like your photos, cool. Things that have weight and value in a place, but I promise you it's not going to be 700 of those things. It's just not. And if it is, start looking. Like start peeking inside of you, like what's going on in me. And I don't say that what's wrong with me stuff, that's foolishness. It's foolishness. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just have something to do. You got a little work. And that's what life is. So you're among good company. We all still breathing. We all working forward. Regardless of the age, we're all working forward. So have no shame or no judgment. Give yourself the same grace you would offer someone else kindly and keep it moving. But understand that is a truth without fail. If you are living in clutter, there is something in you that is fearful. Fearful of what? I don't know, because I don't know you like that. Right? But I encourage you to do your digging, do your due diligence, and find out what's happening in the house of you. In the house of you. I did that. I set my tail still, went into the house of Melikia, and did some inventory. What are you feeling? What are you dealing with? And I did mention some of the things that I went through that were traumatic. I literally had to sit with myself and examine what happened. All right, that happened. What did it make you feel like? What were you thinking at the time? What conclusions did you draw? And what did I run with? I ran with some of that stuff, y'all. I took it as truth because that's what I understood at the time, like in the moment. And I ran with that, but I couldn't see any benefit behind it because I hadn't sat still. Sanctuary Experience, SXP, that's what the SXP is for, and MetaMorphosis 365, the founder of Sanctuary Experience. It came to life because I had an event, had a trauma-inducing event with a Chicago officer from the Amtrak station. Ugly. Anxiety and panic attack inducing. Ugly. Right? But not until I did my work, and then I was blessed, like super blessed. Wonderful people around me, just finished a book, been in the field for a long time. I did my work and I had hope. I reached out for my hope. And behind it, I reached out and prayed. And God gave me that. Boom, 2 words. No, 1 word, literally, sanctuary. I'm like, what's sanctuary? Well, you tell me what it is. Okay, fine. Well, it's going to be an experience. It's going to be experience for 3 days. We're going to take the women away, women who are in leadership positions, who are stressed out continuously, burned out often, experiencing trauma, and doesn't seem like nobody care enough to stop the world and melt with them. Well, that's what we do. And we do it for the men. Yay, men on board now. So sometimes your gold is in the moment, and it's made clear when you sit to process through that issue. So if you need incentive to process through something that's keeping you from being happy, you never know what's on the other side of it waiting for you to process through. So go on and go through it. Don't just keep experiencing it and experiencing an unhappiness and living in misery. For what? Move to happiness. It's wonderful. The water is fine. Come on over here. Let's keep it moving. The shifting of your mindset. Huge, huge, huge. Embrace optimism. I know some people who will find damnation in the happiest of things. They gotta poo-poo on people's happiness. Got to! Like they're not happy until they say something stank. That is disgusting and unfortunate. Because they need to minimize it and lower it. Can't let you be optimistic and leave you in your happiness. If you doing life with people like that, please limit the exposure for your safety's sake. Embrace optimism. I heard someone speaking. They were speaking publicly too, and I'm gonna be over here. But the comment that was made was, "It's such an ugly world." No, it ain't. No, it ain't. It is a beautiful world. It is a beautiful world. There are so many wonderful things that are occurring right now. There are babies being birthed. There are vows being spoken. There are inventions being created. There are folks being protected and fought for and planned for. There's music occurring. There's poetry moving. This is a beautiful, oh my God, the birds and the flowers. This is a beautiful world. Do we have some ugly things that happen? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But where are your eyes focused? Right? Where are your eyes focused? When you sit to ask that question, am I happy? Is the world safe? Is it a beautiful world? Can you answer those questions in the affirmative? Or are you that pessimist that must watch for that shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop, that must have a glass that's half empty to be motivated, inspired, or breathe? I don't know. You know what I mean? You have to get honest about who you are. Do not BS yourself, because the people around you are not fooled. Trust. And if you have people around you that you trust, go on and ask them, do you see me as a positive person? Am I optimistic? Do I dream? Do I inspire you to be happy? Do I encourage you? See what I mean? With my example of life, not even the extra stuff, but with my example of life, are you inspired? Okay? Be brave. Ask a couple of people around you and take that answer. And it doesn't mean that you have to lose any power or any position in your mind. It doesn't make you less. If the answer comes back and they say, hey, listen, you could do better. You could grow in the way you look at things. You could become more positive. You could say less negative, hurtful things. You could be less snide or cruel. That's good news. If someone loves you enough to tell you the freaking truth, okay? And if you already know that you're that person, why? Why do you need to be cruel? Why do you need to be sad? Why do you need to be miserable? And why do you want company in your misery? Questions to be asked. Let's keep it moving. Practice gratitude. This is my favorite. Practice gratitude. What the hell does that mean? How do we practice gratitude? Well, I'll fit to tell you. Years back, what's the name of that book? My mother gave me this journal. It was yellow. It had this pretty butterfly and flowers on the cover of it. And it was a journal. I know what to write. Like, what do I write in this thing? I don't know. It's like a diary. I didn't know what to put. But I knew that I enjoyed being out in the yard with my grandma. I knew that I enjoyed learning how to be still and how to be quiet and how to listen to nature and getting those close encounters, because I had learned those things, right? I hadn't a title for it. I hadn't a name for it, but it was being grateful. Okay. Fast forward some years. I remember seeing Oprah. Oprah talked about a gratitude journal. I was maybe like in my teens, somewhere in there. Maybe not even in my teens by then. But either how, boom, another drop of gratitude. My grandmother every day, pray. Always a thank you. Always a thank you. These are ways, simple ways to practice gratitude, right? Putting yourself in the position to say thank you and to hear it as well. Because if you're hearing thank you, that means you've done something for somebody else. Okay. If you are a solo human, because I do recognize that some people just do life alone. I don't recommend that, but I understand that. Again, with that pen and that paper, I'm gonna push you to work for real. Get to work. And I have my clients do this too, and it's really fun to listen to what they come up with. Get your 50. Start with your 50. It is a hard push for some people to get to 50. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Get your 50 together. And I call it the faith list. What's your faith list at? What you're winning. Break it out. Because when you fall down and you have those hard times, when those flashbacks come and those nightmares come and the things that come to haunt you or drain you or piss on your day, you can whip out your gratitude list and be reminded of all the things that you are grateful for. And you know what's amazing about that? When you sit down and you start reading through your list, oh my God, the shift in your heart that occurs, that can't occur if you do it. If you don't do it, it can't occur. It can't help you. But if you do it, there is a beautiful shift. If you're feeling in a stank mood and you just need to elevate, you want to touch and taste and drink in happiness, sit down with your gratitude list and add a few things after you've read through it. It is so simple. I told you out the gate when we started this podcast, I'm going to offer you simple tools. You want the deeper tools and the tricks of the trade? Come work with me personally. Baby, we'll hook you up. But in this moment, in this time together, I'm offering you something that you can do for the dang near free. Get you a paper. And I encourage you to book, not just random papers, because I am that person when it comes to ideas and books and stuff. I will write on a napkin if it's next to me. Yes, I will. But I encourage you to get a journal. Or get your little notebook, one of those little spiral 70 pages. Cheap. Okay? And if you got kids, jack them for a pencil or a pen. Get your own. Make it pretty. Write yourself a gratitude journal because it will help your life. It will help your life. Those are growth points. Challenges in those negative thoughts. Now, we talked about this, I think, in episode 2, maybe 1 and 2, when we talked about removing those negative thoughts, holding that bad boy and watching it flame up and burn to the point where it's ash. That's how I began. I began burning those thoughts out because they were stank. I didn't want them no more. And I figured that was a way to get rid of them. Why did I figure that? Because the Spirit of the Lord brought it to me. So I'm like, all right, I trust. Let's do it. And then it came to the point where I was like, hey, you don't have to burn it to ash. Did you know you could rewrite that? Okay. Maybe think. I know the thoughts I think towards you. Oh, okay. Thoughts are thought toward me. Clue. Well, then all the thoughts that are thought toward me, do I receive all of those thoughts? No. Thank God, because we have a filtering system. Our brain is wonderful. Our mind is wonderful, right? We only have a certain number of thoughts that we retain and keep and rehearse. Well, why not take ownership of that? Why not clean that up and introduce those beautiful things every day? When that thought creeps up, well, this person said I ain't, and I'm not, and I'm not gonna. How about we push pause on that noise? Push pause on it. Boop. Let's play something better. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. That is a direct quote from Master Key System. Why not? I am beautiful, perfect. Whatever you want to say to yourself. What do you want to be? Okay. Who are you? Decide. Make a choice. I am happy. Oh my God, I started practicing it. And I began to say it, y'all. I started my happiness journey. I began to speak it out loud to myself. I am happy. Oh man, when I started, I was like probably frowning out, just feeling all kind of ways because it was heavy. It was heavy life going on, but I understood this was not going to always be my life. It wasn't, because I was not about to let it be. I had some choices to make, so I made them. Chose. I'm happy. And I just kept telling myself, I am happy. I'm happy. And I began to see reasons that I was happy. And I began to create reasons that I am happy. And I began to reinforce. And I'm speaking lecture style, so I'm hoping you're paying attention and catching. And I began to reinforce. Put it on. One moment, you guys. Let's find out what happened. I think my VP did that and killed everything. He did. We're going to continue our conversation and atmosphere of the room. Let's always be grown ups because I don't do all this stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna get back to the notes just 1 second. I don't even know how to do any of that. All right, let's get to it. So, push this down and back. So embracing optimism. Explore the benefits of adopting an optimistic mindset and cultivating a positive outlook on life. Rule, rule, rule. I encourage it. I don't even think it's an option. It is a matter of embracing. Like, this is it can be a fight if you allow it to be. It doesn't need to be. But you can find that it becomes a fight for your peace. And of course, my phone is buzzing, but I'm not dealing with that right now. But it can become a fight for your peace. It can become a fight to keep you in that negative mindset. Again, it's only a fight if you choose to fight it. Because you are owner and guard, you get to choose. You don't have to fight it. I'm gonna not buzz. I'm gonna show this to you guys. There we go. So before we get done, I want to make sure that I did extend the offer, and I ask you to excuse the abrupt interruption. I'm not exactly sure what occurred. And again, I'm not a grown up when it comes to the tech stuff, so I'm not touching zip.com except for the things that I know. And thank you for rocking with me anyway. So May 17th through 19th, we're going to have an awesome 3-day event for the men, right? We're inviting you to come down and really work on this happiness that I'm talking about. I find that a lot of times our men are bearing so much weight, and unlike the women, they don't have as many places to go and unpack their pain. So what I'm extending is a chance, an offer to really breathe, come get in some brotherhood, renew, have some bud, get some of that good food going, and really grow, like really build. Work on that gratitude list. Of course, we have the Lion's Heart Edition book that's going to accompany, and we'll get right into that work as well, blah, blah, blah. I got some great trainers coming. There's a lot in the water available for you. And then I'm also going to drop this. Let's see. There we go. I'm back. Ooh, didn't know how to do that. I'm learning as we go, so you get to learn with me as we go. Keep it moving. So we are at practicing gratitude. We did that one. And challenging your negative thoughts. That's where we were when everything occurred, all the interruptions, yada, yada. Okay. So focus. Identify and challenge negative thought patterns that may be hindering your happiness and replace them with more positive and realistic alternatives. That is it can be simple if you allow it to be. Again, you are in control. You get to choose what your outcome will be. It is a matter of you sitting to make your goals. What do you want to happen? Okay. That is truly that's the end. That's the edge of it. What do you want? We bend and we fold a lot of times to the people around us, giving them high control of our happiness. It's not advised. Who wants to live a life of blaming someone else for the lack of their joy? Okay, so all of these wonderful things just to guide you and keep your perspective strong and focused. Cultivating happiness. We're going to keep it moving. Mindfulness and presence. Discover the presence of mindfulness and learn how being present in the moment can enhance your happiness and your well-being. Killer. And a must. I'm gonna hit it one more time. Discover the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness. Being present in this moment. Not having your mind draped off in what people perceive as the past or so far down the road and what people perceive as the future, but literally being mindful of your right now. And when it comes to happiness, a lot of times we fail at possessing and holding on to happiness because we often over there, like literally we're down the road. We're in the past being sad or upset about something that occurred, or we're off to the future stressing over what hasn't even occurred yet and won't occur. possibly. So keep those things in mind. And I'm going to share just a couple of more before we get out of here. Pursuing meaning and purpose. Explore activities and pursuits that bring meaning and purpose to your life, aligning with your values and passions. Explore activities and pursuits that bring meaning and purpose to your life. If it does not bring meaning or purpose to your life, why are you doing it? If it doesn't add, and we talked about that balance earlier, the contrast of the happiness and the misery, if it does not add a modicum of happiness or peace or contentment to your life, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And when we sit to understand that and examine the reasons that we're doing a thing, sometimes what we'll find is we don't want to do more. We don't want to do it no more. We're done with it. We put it down and we walk away. So those are beautiful moments in life if you allow yourself to have those beautiful moments. So I encourage you to do that. Pursuing meaning and purpose. We talked about that. Explore activities and pursuits that bring meaning and purpose to your life. And this is huge. Make sure they align with your values. A lot of you guys are working in fields that you have no business being in because they are against everything in you. You have no peace. You have no peace. And relationships that leave you no peace. They don't feel good. They don't line up with what you were taught or what you believe. Sever. Get clarity and move on to where your peace, your joy, and your happiness is. Do it responsibly. I'm not saying be irresponsible. Don't do that. Nurturing your relationships. Understand the more importance of social connection. So I mentioned earlier that some people are doing life alone. I do not recommend that. I understand that sometimes life kind of does a number on people. I'll say it like that. And that's okay too. This is life. It's only life. Okay. It's only life. We know we're not getting out of it alive, so to speak, but these are the bumps in the road. And can you imagine that the earth is filled with this many billions of people? Okay, if the earth is filled with this many billions of people, chances are, we're just going to take a wild guess and say, you were not meant to do life alone. That was not meant for you. So bear that in mind for those who are completely closed off to the idea. My folks that I mentioned earlier, the I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to open my heart. I'm not going to be bothered. Y'all, those folks, this one hurt me. Folks, there ain't no good ones. Yeah, it is. But your heart is not in a good position to receive. Okay? So those are the things that we got to get honest with ourselves. When I mentioned doing self-inventory, I mean it. Do your inventory, your self-inventory. Okay, find out what's happening in the house of you. And what you will find is, once again, I bring it back to the beginning, you will be presented with a choice. That's it. You will be presented with a choice. Make a decision, darling. Because happiness is as accessible as misery. And it feels way better. There's way more peace involved. There's way more you present in your life when you're choosing the things that contribute to your happiness. And how do you know that you're reaching that goal of happiness? Because you sat down to define it for yourself. And then that way, once you reach it, you know what it is that you're reaching for. It's out in front of you. You know what to look for. You know what to feel for. You know what to accept, who to accept, and what not to. Like, seriously, it's an inside job. Like, for real, it's an inside job. And it works when you work it. It works when you go inside of yourself. That's when it works. Let's talk about self-compassion and acceptance. I think this is probably it might be a harder one for some people. I've heard people say I'm my own worst enemy, so I would think for people who feel that way, or my own worst critic, for those folks it might be hard, and I respect that. But practicing self-compassion is beautiful. It really is. Explore the concept. Like, check out what it means to be self-compassionate and learn how to treat yourself with kindness. Like, learn how to treat yourself with kindness. And if you have yet to understand kindness, right, on how to treat yourself with kindness, start practicing on others. Like, start practicing what you believe kindness is outwardly for no reason. Pick a person, pick a human, and be kind. Give yourself a time stamp. For next 30 days, I'm going to be kind to this specific person. I'm going to practice kindness so that I see what it looks like and I feel what it feels like. And it becomes a measure of my being. That's why, okay? And then use that kindness on yourself. Apply it there. Apply that piece there, especially during your challenging times, especially when you are having that bad or hard day or long week or long year or season, okay? When you're going through that, that is when you need to be kind to yourself the most. And if the people around you are not kind, that's unfortunate. But that does not mean you have to join in that behavior and be unkind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. That you can do. Okay, I'm gonna check my time just to make sure I'm not going over. So I will share with you just a little bit more. And then everything else, if you want the workbook, you don't have to reach out to me for that. So we talked a few times about setting goals. And this is just a few thoughts and keys on how to set your goals. Reflect on your values. What are your strengths? What are your aspirations? And you set a meaningful goal. Don't just randomly stick up a goal because I said make a goal. Make a goal that means something to you. Make sure that it aligns with your vision of what happiness is, right? Make sure it's a goal that's going to leave you feeling content, okay? Like once you achieve it, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel solid in your belly. You're going to feel solid in your heart. This was for me. This was for me to do, and I chose. So there's no one to blame. I chose. I decided. I took action. You hear that? I chose. I decided. I took action, because all of those things are needed. Like, it's not an option. All of those things are needed. Track your progress. So here's the fun part. When working with clients, especially for particular things, we do. I do 3 days. I'm a little bit of that guy. I ain't playing about it. When we make a goal, I want to see some results in 3 days. Does it mean that the entire goal has been met? Sometimes. And I love it when that happens, especially when it comes to the fundraising clients that I work with, folks who are looking to do like fundraising for their business, blah, blah, blah. Especially for them. Man, I will harangue. I ain't playing with you. Got 3 days to show me some results, because then I know you've decided. Then I know you've taken action and you're listening and you're doing. And that's what I'm going to work harder with. You know, that's what I'm going to woodpecker your tail and make sure you meet your goals. Accountability is important. So track your progress. I think it is wonderful to have someone along your journey with you that can hold you accountable. I do masterminds, right? And I think it's amazing to have a mastermind and to hold a mastermind. So to be held accountable. And if you don't have that, okay, fine. Hold yourself accountable. Be accountable to you. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? So track your progress. This is my goal. I give myself this amount of time to make it, to achieve it. Okay, next 10 days, I'm going to consistently, big word, I'm going to consistently, let's make it simple, write in my gratitude journal for the next 10 days. For the next 10 days, I'm just going to I'm going to write wildly. Or for those who are a stretch to do it, I'm going to write 5 a day. A little bit braver, 10 a day. A little bit braver, 50 a day. Okay? But there are so many reasons to be grateful, and that in itself will help anchor you into happiness. Be anchored. Right? Practice makes beautiful. That's what it is. I would say practice makes beautiful. It makes you. It helps you become. Okay? And ain't nothing wrong with it. So I've enjoyed our time together. I'm just a bit of a recap. You have a choice. I've heard it said misery loves company, which bodes the question, does happiness love company too? And here is your answer. Yes, it does. I love being in the state of happiness. And I really, really enjoy welcoming others into my state of happiness and offering that example of peace and stillness. And again, does that mean I don't get challenged? No. Does that mean trauma doesn't occur? No. But you know what it does mean? It does mean that I have a practice in place, a practice in place so that when it happens, I do not have to sit and be miserable. I do not have to sit and rehearse trauma or sadness or pains or irritations. I don't have to. You know why? Because I have wisely chosen to rehearse a better thing. Okay, I have wisely chosen to rehearse peace. I've wisely chosen to rehearse love, gratitude, things of higher energy and vibration. I've embraced creation. I've embraced happiness. I've embraced optimism. And I encourage you to do the same. Like literally, I encourage you to do the same. Live your life. Live your best life. Live the life you were innately offered, right? Given. Yeah, that's how I would say it. Given. So I think I have covered everything pretty much. We're at about time to wrap it up. So we're gonna do that. Now I'm gonna be brave and push some buttons. And let's see what happens when I push these magical buttons. This might work. I am Melikia K. Courtney, and I've been your host of SXP MetaMorphosis 365, where you will have conversations about growth and where you will learn with me as I learn this technical stuff, because I don't know it yet, but I'm going to learn it. And then you're going to high five me through the computer or the phone on my success as I learn it. And we're going to see if I learn this part right now. I'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you've enjoyed time with me. I've definitely enjoyed time with you. I am truly interested in your growth, sincerely interested in your happiness and your contentment. If you know that you like to work with me, we resonate, we vibrate, all right, reach out to me. You can find me on all the social medias, Melikia K. Courtney, with the exception of Instagram. I was being funny that day. And it is Santa's Helper, SANTAZHELPR. And if you want to know why, ask me about that when we talk. Okay, great. So reach out to me for things like life coaching, rituals, rites, peace, forgiveness, all kind of wonderful things like that. For madness and drama and do head stuff, don't reach out to me for that foolishness because I can't help you. But growth, I can definitely help you. Okay, great. On that note, talk to you soon. Let's see if this works.